Sex Madness is another SEXploitation film directed by Dwain Esper. Yeah, that guy again. This one was released in 1938 and delves into the dangers of carnal desire. The film begins with a foreword that gives some subtle foreshadowing about the real focus of the whole thing. It talks about the syphilis menace and how society has to do everything it can to stop it. The warning must be told. So we begin with some folks chilling at the crib. Old dude is reading the paper on which the headline mentions 11 showgirls being nabbed in a raid. He then comments that the police are too lenient on these vicious exhibitions of sex, and his wife agrees. Apparently their son doesn't though, and he heads out in a ruffle, off to a friend's house to engage in what we can only assume will be debauchery. His mother is worried that he might be doing just that, but Pops is confident that his boy wouldn't be involved in that sort of dirty bad fun. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We jump over to some kind of office where a young lady is reading the same paper. Another chick is there typing and the desk girl keeps looking at her awkwardly. It seems she's up to some kind of mischief. She reads a bit of the newspaper article where it describes an erotic performer, presumably one of the ladies caught in the raid, and how she was stripping for the audience. This gets them both really excited, and typing girl says she'd rather be doing that than working at this job. Desk girl encourages her, and then they decide they'll go see the burlesque show for themselves. Intriguing. So far I like where this is going. Looks like we get to see the show too, and it's some kind of gym-themed show. The ladies are out there ripping it up with some tiny shorts and prop dumbbells. Erotic. Here's a young couple enjoying the show. The boyfriend is really clutching her and is apparently aroused because he tries to convince her to call her parents and tell them she's staying the night with friends. Most definitely so he can bump uglies. Hey, it's the ladies from the office. They made it out and are enjoying the show too. The one on the right in particular, she's about as clingy as the dude was with his lady. She asks the other lady if she wants to stay over at her place. Sounds like she's horned up and ready to feed the kitty too. Alright, time to swing those weights, ladies. Okay, hip thrust ass presentations. Looks like these dudes enjoyed that one. Okay, shake it, nice. And ass thrust micro runners, go! This guy really enjoys that. He's stoked. Look at this creepy perverted face. Like he's an ass vampire and needs to eat ass to survive. So the show ends and we see the parents again. The mom is worried about their son and of course the dad continues to shrug it off. Next we go backstage where all the dancers are after the show. One dancer, who we later find out is named Sheila, is talking to another dancer, who we also later learn is named Millicent, and she wants to go out drinking. Millicent isn't interested though. She wants to hit the sack instead. Sheila has a date with a dude named Tom Lorenz, the son of a famous performer. She tries to get Millicent to join in, but she doesn't budge, even after like 7 attempts to convince her. She recommends taking another dancer who jumps at the opportunity to go, but is shunned.
Sure, sometime when I got a grudge against myself, I'll take you along. Is that so?
Looks like the patrons are all leaving the theater. We see the first couple on the street and they go into a hotel. Looks like they're gonna do a little bed boogie after all. There's a bunch of dudes hanging out by the rear exit to the theater, watching all the dancers come out and harassing them. Turns out it's Tom Lorenz and his goons, here to get Sheila. A dancer comes out and informs him that apparently the plans have changed and Sheila went home to put on a gown. She tells him about a party to go meet her at instead, a party with lots of ladies. We then see Millicent as she gets home. There's a lady there to greet her and the window falls shut on its own.
You know, Mrs. Jones, we girls are certainly nothing having
We see her pining over a guy's photo, and then the older lady gives her a letter, presumably from her boyfriend. So she reads the letter, and her dude is hoping that she will come home soon so he can marry her. We also find out his name is Wendell. Cut to the party where Sheila and Tom arrive with the posse. The dude-to-lady ratio is looking pretty good, and things get moving. Music is playing, the sauce is flowing, people are having a good time, and a little intimate too, it would seem. Sheila invites Tom upstairs to check out a Pomeranian. No, not her Pomeranian, a Pomeranian. As another couple finishes some shots, the hostess suggests that the lady take her boyfriend on a tour of the house and find a cozy little corner. They like the idea and head off to take a tour. Another couple sees this and decides they want to check out the guest room. A third couple that was just lighting up on the couch is alone now, so they take advantage of the situation to suck face while everyone else goes to find somewhere to lust and thrust. We then see Millicent again. She's speaking to a doctor who lectures her about syphilis and her boyfriend. Millicent tells a story about how she won a beauty contest and went to New York. After the contest was over, she thought she might get famous or something, but things turned out differently. She couldn't find a job anywhere, but refused to head home in shame, so she stayed. One day she met a theatrical manager, and we are shown a kind of flashback of this. He offers her an opportunity to attend a social function and make some connections, but says that she just has to be nice and won't have to do anything. Despite this, he makes her stand up so he can take a gander at her goods. He seems quite impressed with her knees and gives her the address. Definitely shady. She continues the story, and now Millicent is at the party. She's hanging out with this dude and appears to be a bit drunk. She wants to make a name for herself, and this guy apparently wants to help, I'm assuming in a kind of sugar daddy way. He wined and dined her, filling her ears with promises of fame and fortune, and so she slept with him. She even stayed with him for several days before he eventually ditched her, leaving her in a lonely and distraught state. Apparently, he gave her the syphilis too. In order to make money to pay for medical treatment, she got a job working at the burlesque show, and that pretty much brings us to where we are now, which is Millicent stripping and dancing for money to pay for medical bills to treat her syphilis so she can go back home and marry her boo. The doctor explains that it's impossible for her to marry now that she has the Sif playing around with her fun bits. He takes her with him to the hospital and shows a bunch of patients suffering from the disease, the whole time speaking about how awful it is. The images are somewhat graphic, and I can't tell if they're real cases or if it's all just makeup. Either way, I'll skip over those because I'm sure you don't want to see that. So anyway, the doctor recommends that he treat her daily for a month, and then she can go back home if things improve, continuing the treatment of course. She still can't marry yet though, not until she's cured anyway. He also wants her to be wary of quack doctors. Possible foreshadowing? Stay tuned to find out more.
Some fun when Snubby Gun plays Private Eye, and you can have the same kind of fun with Mattel's Tommy Burst Detective Set. The Tommy Burst has automatic bolt action. Fire off a burst of 10 shots. Pull the bolt again, you're reloaded. Or fire single shots like a rifle. The Tommy Burst alone is $3. In the Detective Set, you also get the Snub Nose 38 and Snap Draw Shoulder Holster. The pistol fires greeny stickum caps and shoots safe shooting shells. The exciting new Tommy Burst Detective Set includes wallet, badge, and ID card. $7 wherever toys are sold. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
Welcome back. Now, moving on, we are then shown a bunch of newspaper headlines reporting about the prevalent spread of STDs across the country, reinforcing what the doctor was talking about. Then it cuts to a room where Dr. Hampton and Mr. Lorenz are speaking about sex and STDs. Turns out this is Tom's daddy, the big man himself. They have a brief conversation about how education of STDs and the encouragement of faithful marriage are the best way to fight the sex scourge. The movie jumps ahead to Millicent leaving after her final treatment with the doctor before she can go home. She heads on out and catches her train, during which we are shown some unnecessary footage of locomotive operation. Millicent's parents are waiting at the station and greet her when she arrives. About 3 months go by and we see her parents discussing the Wendell situation. Apparently Millicent has been putting off the wedding and they don't know why, but we know why. She's still doing her treatments and has been going to a doctor in a nearby town once a week. After she mails a letter to her original doctor, we see her talking to Wendell. They're fawning all over each other and she keeps playing the I just want to be sensible and not rush card. He's pretty sweet on her, so of course he doesn't pressure too much, but I'm sure he's probably somewhat perplexed. I mean, she's home now and keeps saying how much she wants to marry him, so what's the holdup? Yeah, it's sensible to wait until the right time, but the movie makes it seem like they've been discussing marriage for a while now, so I can sympathize with him a bit. Plus, we already know what she's hiding, so any suspicions on his part are not without merit. Next, we see Millicent at her doctor's office, Dr. Grenoble. He mentions that he's been treating her for 7 months now. Damn. First it was just 3 and now we're up to 7? Obviously this concerns her because she keeps having to delay the wedding. She can only keep this up for so long. Well, it would seem that she's been showing steady improvement during those 7 months of treatment, but isn't cured yet. He proposes a new multiple serum treatment that will have her clean within 30 days. Not a drip. She'll have to shell out some more coin though in order to get it, $100 to be exact, which is roughly around $1,800 in today's money. So she's been paying for treatment from this guy for once a week for 7 months. That's 28 visits so far, each time paying for a treatment. It doesn't say how much each treatment was, but let's say for hypothetical sake that it was $10 each time. That means that she already spent about $280 using this guess. That equates to roughly $5,000 in today's value. Something doesn't seem right about this guy. Could he be a quack like her first doctor warned? Stay tuned to find out.
You are watching a demonstration of the most authentic cap pistol in the world. It has exclusive fanning action and shoots safe shooting shells with greeny stickum caps. The gun and hip-slung Mattel holster are specially made for a fast draw. All of Mattel's shooting shell fanners and holsters carry the true stamp of the Old West. And every boy will walk tall when he wears a holster and pistol with a Mattel brand. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
And we're back. So anyway, she must have opted to spill the cheddar because the next thing we see is our little Millie finally getting married to her boy toy Wendell. About a year passes and the story resumes on a stormy night. We are in what appears to be a hospital where Wendell is waiting with Millicent's parents. A baby cries out and everyone is happy. Millicent's dad excitedly shakes Wendell's hand in congratulations for thoroughly impregnating his daughter. So alrighty, things aren't looking too bad right now. Millicent married Wendell finally and now they have a baby. It jumps to Wendell at work on his lunch break and reading the newspaper. Oh shit, looks like Dr. Grenoble was a hack after all and got busted by the cops. You know what that means? Millicent is still rife with the syphilis and out somewhere around $7,000 too. Wendell complains about having a hard time reading the small print in the paper and also has been feeling rather crappy lately. His bud suggests that it's just from having a baby, but I think we know the truth. He got the drip from Millicent and it's starting to manifest. It quickly cuts to Millicent and her mom with the baby. There seems to be something wrong with the baby and so they call the doctor. Well, looks like she may have given it to the baby too. Rejoining Wendell at work, we see him experiencing more effects of the disease as he now can't even see well enough to do his job. His boss is cool and tells him to take the rest of the day off. Millicent calls the doctor about the baby and then calls Wendell's job, where she's told about him leaving on account of his state of wellness.
You're welcome. Bye.
The doctor examines the baby and confirms that the child is most definitely sick, recommending they get a pediatrician and get themselves checked out too. In the next scene, Tom Lorenz is at a doctor getting checked out. He says that this is his third doctor visit so far, and no one knows what is wrong with him. We really haven't seen anything of Tom in a while, but the next scene confirms it's him, so stay tuned.
My name's Snubby Gun. This is my beat. My game, I'm a private eye. Call me anytime. After school, that is. When I play private eye, I come fully equipped with Mattel Snub Nose 38, snap draw shoulder holster, and the fastest wheels in town. When you play private eye, you have to be fast. Fast on your feet, and fast on the draw. Ready for action on a moment's notice. Practice target shooting whenever you can. Load up with greeny stickum caps and Mattel shooting shells. If you want to play private eye, get this Mattel gun and holster set. It comes complete with wallet, badge, and ID card. Get extra greeny stickum caps, too. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
And welcome back. Let's continue. The doctor claims that he's the best and can help him out, but it's going to cost a pretty penny. He sounds just like Dr. Grenoble. Tom pays him $75 up front to do the treatment, and then it cuts out real quick to some kind of headline of sorts about a syphilis movie. It then goes to Mr. Lorenz speaking to Dr. Hampton again, seemingly about the syphilis movie. It would appear that Mr. Lorenz contributes lots of money to Dr. Hampton's research, and they work together to make this movie, which is intended to provide education on the STD menace. The doctor leaves, and in comes Tom. He overheard what they were talking about and shamefully admits that he caught the bug. Mr. Lorenz stares at the camera as if trying to look into your soul, but there's a dirty window in the way. Tom explains that he tried to take care of it himself, just like we saw Millicent try, but he fell victim to quack doctors too. His dad reassures him that he made the right decision by telling him as he awkwardly pats his son and stares into the camera again. Hopping back to Wendell and Millicent, who are now at the doctor getting a checkup, he asks if Wendell is entirely well, suggesting that the parents are the cause. His diagnosis is that the baby has syphilis, and the only way this could have been transmitted was by one of the parents. Millicent flips out, convinced that she was cured, but admits that she had the disease. And now she's distraught because she gave it to her husband and child. I mean, who wouldn't be? That's a pretty crappy situation to be in. Well, the film cuts to a conference where Dr. Hampton is speaking about the dangers of syphilis. He advocates education about sex and of the disease to help youth make better decisions. The common counter-argument people make to education is that by teaching young people about sex, you are actually encouraging it. That if they know about it, they'll be more likely to do it. The good doctor dispels these claims and encourages education using Tom Lorenz as an example. Tom gets up and tells his story, which we have somewhat witnessed throughout the movie. He tells how he went to the burlesque show with his buds, followed by the house party that ended up with everyone taking old One Eye to the optometrist. That must have been the night that he caught the sif, because after that he fell into a misery of what turned out to be fake cures and false doctors. It wasn't until after he went to his father that he was able to get proper treatment and cured. Moving on, we see Millicent and Wendell once more. Wendell's in bed and obviously suffering. Millicent goes into the other room to fetch some poison? Yeah, she's gonna put him out of his misery. Seems he's blind too, so the disease has finally stolen his sight. Despite all that's happened, he still loves her to death. Right when she's about to give him the sauce, the phone rings. It's Sheila, the one that most likely passed the disease to Tom. She reports that she got some real treatment and is much better now. 1 year down and only one more to go. She coincidentally admits that she contemplated suicide and can't believe that she did so since things are looking so swell now. Millicent laughs like a loon as she immediately swings from super depressed and homicidal, possibly suicidal, to ecstatic with hope that they can all be cured too. Then the movie ends. So that's Sex Madness right there. Another movie that at its heart has some good lessons that can be derived, but ultimately does a mildly poor job of making those lessons obvious. One point that does stand out is the benefit of proper education. It does argue that the best way to combat the spread of STDs is by educating the youth to make good decisions. All the bad things that happen in this movie could have been avoided if better decisions were made. Tom Lorenz even admits that he wishes he had been educated about such things at a young age. Otherwise, he may have been less sexually promiscuous and thus less prone to catch something. Better sexual education could have benefited Millicent too, but her situation seemed to be more related to other themes. She just kept making poor decisions, one after another. It all started with her choosing to stay in New York after the beauty pageant. She should have just gone back home instead of trying to strike it rich. This is what led her to meet up with the shady talent manager, which essentially ended up being a casting couch situation. I don't know why she went to that party after how creepy that dude was. There's no doubt that she was taken advantage of here though, and it's reasonable to assume that she wouldn't have known about such types of people. Regardless, she still went to the party, did some drinking, and then wound up being taken advantage of again. And this time, she left with a parting gift, which is essentially the drive for the rest of the movie. This all still highlights the primary argument for education, and really I think this can be applied to anything, not just sex and STDs. Educating youth about real-life topics and breaking stigmas of speaking about those topics is the way to do it. That way, they can be better prepared to make the right decisions when those situations arise. Because the situations will arise, whether they're prepared or not.